Holiday shoppers are expected to spend less this year, but electronics may be a bright spot. Sales of smartphones in particular have remained strong, and companies continue to release new models. For advice on which phones are worth the money, we turn to expert Natali Del Conte, a senior editor at CNET. Okay, Natali, so we got a bunch of phones here to look at. Is this really a good present for the holidays? What do you think?
I think people really love getting phones for the holidays. It tends to be a little tricky, though. You're not just going to get it for your coworker because you don't know what carrier they have. You don't know when their plan expires. But if it's someone very intimate in your life, usually you know when your husband's contract is up or when your wife's contract is up. So if you know that information, then yes, they're going to love this as a gift.
And some people might say, oh, I'm totally into this idea of a smartphone, but they don't realize it's going to cost more every single month, right?
Exactly, especially because the price of a smartphone has come down so much in the last year. It used to be you'd pay $300 or $400 for a fancy phone, and then you'd still get the data plan, which is expensive. Now it's a tiny bit misleading because the prices of these leading smartphones are $200 or less, which means that it sounds like it's cheaper, but it's really not because the data is still very expensive.
And you also say that you have to watch out because you have to be careful you're not buying a big phone just for texting, right? I mean, if you're going to just text, you can kind of get any phone, right?
Exactly. This year we've seen the rise of something called messaging phones, which are more for the teeny boppers than for the business consumer, because these are phones with a full QWERTY keyboard, which means you've got the full keyboard display. And so you think, oh, that must be a smartphone, but that doesn't mean that it has Microsoft Exchange, which is the server that most people use for their work email. That doesn't mean that it's got the data plan so you can unlimitedly search the web. That just means it's got a full keyboard so you can furiously text like so many of the teens do.
So let's talk about the phones, because I have 2 out of the 3 of these, so I'm going to be very intrigued by this. So we have the beautiful, let me just do it this way, BlackBerry. Tell us, what is this good for, what it's not good for?
This is the newest edition of the BlackBerry Bold, and the Bold is very, very business user friendly. All BlackBerries can get on your corporate work email accounts. That's important. They can also sync your work calendars. I think that's also important. Sync your contacts. That's important. I really like that the newer BlackBerries don't have this track ball. Instead, they have this optical track pad, so you just slide your finger across and it's going to take you to wherever you need to go.
So we have another phone for people who really heart Verizon, a smartphone for Verizon lovers. This is the Droid, right?
This phone was kind of the answer to what they wanted. They wanted an Android phone, which is Google's operating system. That means that you can customize it a lot like the iPhone. You can put a lot of applications on it. It's also very Google-centric, so people who are very ingrained in their Gmail and their Google Calendars and their Google Life. And it's just a nicer, flat touchscreen phone, but there are a lot of people who like the full keyboard, so it's got that too.
Ooh, the keyboard, but the letters are not raised as significantly as on the BlackBerry, right?
No, and you're gonna hold it kind of and reach your thumbs in like that to type, so it's a little bit of a different experience than typing on the BlackBerry, but it's a nice keyboard. So if it's really important to you to have a phone with a very nice camera, this does have a nice camera. It has 5-megapixel camera, which is higher than most.
Yeah, that's big.
It has flash, which most phone cameras don't have a flash on it. It does take video, which most phones do now, not all of them did before. And again, touchscreen phone, full keyboard, and using Android's operating system.
So let's go to the pretty and elegant iPhone. Now, I have an iPhone and I have a BlackBerry. And what I can tell you is I hate typing on my iPhone.
But you're not going to do heavy emailing on an iPhone. I think most people don't. Most people use it as maybe the compendium of their digital worlds, where you can get all your music and all of your videos, and that's very seamless. You can get your Twitter and your Facebook. You can get to pretty much any social search function you want, Wikipedia, Google, very superior web surfing. I haven't seen a phone that does internet browsing better than the iPhone.
Fantastic. Natali, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And
my pleasure.
Go out and buy yourself a smartphone, or buy someone you love a smartphone. It will make them happy, except for their bills are going up. Oh well. Happy holidays.